Hey everybody, I'm Stacy. I'm the owner and artist of New Creations by Stacy. We're going to give it a sec just to let the notifications go out, give some time for people to jump on. Dixie Belle will be here with us as well just to help answer any questions. So actually, I don't even think I'm live. Give me just a minute here. Oh, perfect. Here I am. All right, so I know I'm live. Like I said, we're going to give it a sec for everybody to jump on. You know what? If you're watching on replay, you'll see this part. So just to let you know, in the comments, hey, Jean, and you guys, as you're popping on, just say, hey, where you're watching from as well, please. But anyway, in the comments, I do have my affiliate link so that you can find your local retailer. If you click that link, scroll all the way down. There's an option. You can find your local retailer if you want any of these products. You can also purchase on the affiliate link if you don't have anyone close to you. So that's always appreciated. Oh my gosh. Hey, Kristen. So good to see you on here. Hey, Debbie. Oh my gosh. Kristen, I thought I caught you live finally last night, and then I realized it was Tuesday. But anyway, so, okay, I digress. Anyway, guys, also in the links, the Chalk Mineral Paint Enthusiast group, awesome group. If you're not familiar with it, great place to ask questions. World of Chalk Paint is also out there. Both of those are amazing groups, amazing artists in there as well that post. So, hey, Tammy, good to see you. I know, perfect. I'm so happy to see you on here, Kristen. All right, you guys, so we are going to be working on this piece behind me. And just to let you know again, hey, Sarah, if you haven't seen me before, I'm Stacy. I'm the owner and artist of New Creations by Stacy. I am here at University Pickers in Huntsville, Alabama, and then also at the Rustic Willow in Ardmore. So you guys, if you're local, please come in and see us. Otherwise, I'd love to see you on here too. All right, you guys, so we're going to get started back here. So I'm back to furniture this week. Even though I really wanted to Christmas craft tonight, to be honest, anyway, back to furniture. I've got to get some pieces done. So you guys, on this piece, this was a super beat up piece. It was given to me by actually the person who bought the green piece on my page. There's a link to it if you want to take a look at it. But she gave me this piece. She was going to do it as a custom. Then she saw the green piece, wanted it instead. So this thing had like probably, not kidding, like 10 coats of super thick paint on it, all different colors. I think at one point it was black, gray, blue, dark blue, like a really bright blue, turquoise, just all kinds of stuff on here. So I actually sanded most of it down. I really wanted to get rid of the texture because I love just a nice, smooth, elegant blend on these French provincials. But in this case, I got most of it off, but I still have some texture. Turned out had a lot of veneer repairs on here. I did go ahead and put 2 coats of Boss on here because it was a bleeder too. So because I still have some of the texture on here, if you watched a few weeks ago, the Majestic Horse piece, I did the first coat live. I'm going to do the first coat a little bit different, but I plan on doing the second coat on this piece, a watercolory wash, and I'm going to do that Friday night live on my page at 5. So let's get started. I'm going to bring you in so you can like really see what we have going on here. And before we start going through thickening up the paint and everything, we are actually going to go through on some of this trim and everything that I added because I want to add that first layer of depth, so to speak. So I've got some, before I thicken it up, I have some Midnight Sky out here, which is this gorgeous, it's like a soft black color. It's pretty much like black sands if you use silk. So it's still pretty close to black, but it's really kind of more like a charcoaly color, I feel like. So what I like to do in my details is I like to take a dark color and go through like over all my trim and everything like that. And I like to really, really mist down my brush because then the water just runs in between here and you can do this really pretty quickly. So I'm really only going to go over really to the middle because I don't think that we're going to get any farther in here. And again, just a super, super watercolory layer here to just really get down into that detail. That's all I'm interested in. And I do want it a little bit thicker. I want it a little bit darker. So ultimately, you guys, I want this to be, I'm going to use Fluff on here. So I want it to be ultimately pretty light. But I want to add all this detail to come down to afterwards. And like I said, the fastest way to do this is just use a lot of water so that the water does the trick and drips that paint down into all those cracks and crevices. So I can really get that in here. So you guys, what are you guys working on tonight? I've got the comments up now so I can see over here. Hey, Shannon. Oh, thanks, Sarah. I would love to. Oh my gosh. I saw the cutest little picture of your daughter. I think it was on Thanksgiving. She's so adorable. All right, guys. So I'm kind of swirling my brush around to really work that in there. I don't personally care. And you guys, I'm kind of going around this trim that was already on here as well, just to get that darkened in a little bit. Not everywhere. Hey, Patty, good to see you. Yes, I know. I love Midnight Sky. It used to be I loved the lighter colors, but here lately I've been kind of into darker colors. You guys, does anybody, and I should know this, but I don't. What are the newest trending colors? Does anybody know what they're supposed to be for next year? I don't mean like trending Dixie Belle colors. I mean like home interior design colors. I don't know where that came from, you guys. Again, I digress. It's been one of those days. I literally, so my dogs went to the groomer today, and she sent like a goodie bag, a Christmas goodie bag home with them. So I'm thinking it's like dog treats and dog toys, right? And you know those cookies that look like dog treats? Well, they are dog treats and they're cookies. They look like Oreo cookies. You guys, I literally fed my dogs Oreo cookies right before the live. I thought they were dog treats. I didn't even pay attention to the package. All right, so we're just gonna come in here and do the same thing on this applique. So anyway, I hope nobody gets sick tonight. It's just been one of those kind of days though. How's everybody else's day? Anybody else have one of those stories today? It's like the story of my life, I think. All right, so we're almost done with this part, guys. I don't want to hold you up for a long time. I mean, this is so easy, but it's just the easiest way to really get all into these details so that when you're doing a more artistic finish, you don't have to worry about getting that coverage when you're actually doing your finish. Because sometimes it's hard to get into all these details. You guys, and I'm going to kind of, I know it looks terrible right now. I'm going to kind of bring you down a little bit and bring you close in so you can really see what we're doing here. All right, there we go, perfect. So let me just, yeah, you can see the leg, pretty much see, perfect. Perfect, perfect. I know, right? And then I tried to get the treats back, and this, I have one little dog, the one that's named Taz, the one you guys hear yapping if you watch me regularly. She's a yapper, it's true. But anyway, she is like really possessive of her treats, and she was like having a fit when I was trying to get it out of her mouth. And they're little dogs, but I know they say they have to eat a ton of chocolate. You guys, I'm just getting into the details over here on this leg a little bit. Just making sure that's, the last thing I want is some boss to show through, because we're going to be painting probably with some sponges, some different stuff. So the last thing I want is some boss, some white boss to show through in the crevices. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and thicken up. Hey, Marianne, good to see you. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and we're just going to thicken up our paint some with some sea spray. So you guys, let me tell you, I cracked the lid on my Midnight Sky a while ago, and I just had it covered with saran wrap. So it has actually thickened up some already. I've lost my spoon. Oh, here it is. So it has already thickened up some already, but I'm going to pop you down here so you can see what I'm doing. If you see my slippers here, just don't pay attention. I'm dumping, if I can. This is the last little bit, but you can see how thick it already is. Let me get a little bit more on here. I'm going to still even thicken it up more because I really want to add a lot of texture to this initial coat. Because I think what I'm going to do is when I do this, so this is sea spray. Let me tell you this first. Comes in a nice little powder. It's 2 tablespoons to every 8 ounces of paint. I lost my little measuring thing. Plus, I don't measure anyway. So my paint is already thicker, so I'm actually going to add a little bit less here. Just to thicken it up. Well, actually, I added quite a bit there. These spoons hold more than I thought. Well, we're just going to stir it up really well. Let's see here. Just want to get it nice and mixed together. I'm making a mess as usual. You guys, my rule is for me, if it can go wrong, it will. So if you've seen me before, you know. By the time I end this, I will probably have paint all over me. All right, so you can see it is really nice and thick now. Whoops. Let me just, so you can see how thick it is. It's like a super thick pudding, I feel like. All right, so we've got that. And then I've also got some vintage duck egg here. I don't think I'm going to be using a lot of vintage duck egg. And again, my vintage duck egg is at the bottom of the barrel. So it is also pretty thick. I just found this 32-ounce container. I have a new one here. But I just found this container at the back of a shelf, so I decided to dig it out. Trying to get rid of, I always go through this phase like at the end of the year, at the beginning of the new year, where I'm trying to get rid of like a bunch of old products that I have. So, excuse me, I'm just digging this out, guys, sorry. All right, I'm not gonna use very much of this, but I am gonna take a little bit of the sea spray and add into here. You guys, and you don't have to get a giant bag of this. We do have these in 8 ounces as well. It is water-based. All of this is water-based, so it's just a soap and water cleanup. And I do use my brushes. I know some people don't like to use their regular brushes with this, or they throw them away afterwards. But I just use scrubby soap. And even though that this is nice and thick and chunky, it washes right out. No problems there. Like I said, I'm not mixing too much of this up just because I don't need a whole lot of it. And for right now, I am not going to thicken up my Fluff, which is the color, the third color we're going to be using. I'm not thickening up my Fluff because when I do this wash over it, I think it's mostly going to be Fluff. And I only want this Midnight Sky and the Vintage Duck Egg to kind of potentially show through. The fluff's not going to matter. So I'm adding a little bit of texture because I already had some in kind of some of the corners. I didn't want to continue sanding the way I was. So I'm not going to add a whole ton of this, but I'm going to use our premium chip brush, and I am using my bad premium chip brushes. You can see this one has rust all over it. Plus it's all cracked. It's several years old. And I'm going to start off, I want more texture, really kind of down around the bottom. And I'm also going to use, here we go. I'm going to stick some Vintage Duck Egg. I want more of the Vintage Duck Egg down here. And I'm just kind of dabbing it on. I feel like I'm missing stuff, guys. Hey, Denise. Hey, Nikki, good to see you. Oh, you guys can see, yeah, I do. I always paint in slippers. And frankly, if I'm not going to be live, I'm painting in my pajamas too in the wintertime. Like, I want to be comfortable. It just seems like it needs to be nice and cozy, and putting a little extra texture in here. You guys, I love how Vintage Duck Egg comes together too with Midnight Sky. It's just a pretty, blend. So the way I'm applying this, I have a feeling that I might end up, I'm going to switch to a sponge here for some of this. It just seems to go on a little bit faster. And like I said, I want to keep the bottom dark. I want to give it that nice texture. And I do want some texture with the fluff, just so it kind of matches. Let's give it a little bit of a highlight in here. Kind of lighten it up. And I want to come in with more fluff on this bottom drawer. So I'm giving it texture, even though I didn't texture it. I'm also using this coat to kind of see where I'm going. Like I said, I want to kind of keep it lighter. Give it some highlights around here. Let's come in with a little more of this Midnight Sky. But you see where I didn't go into my details, how it's showing up white? I'm going to have to come back through there with the brush. And this doesn't have to be super blended because, again, this is my first coat. I know, I've seen her paint in her PJs before too. And you guys, let me tell you, I have been tempted to come on live in my PJs too. But then like right before the live, then I like chicken out. But yeah, that would just be, if I could go live in my PJs, I feel like that would be the best ever. So actually, I think I'm going to keep it lighter up towards the top for the most part. Kind of liking how that's looking color-wise. Like I said, this is just my first coat. I'm probably going to do a watery blend over this, so it just kind of peeks through a little bit. Let's come back in here. I'm going to go back with a little Vintage Duck Egg, just here and there. You guys, if you've seen me too, I get a little obsessed with the details sometimes, so let's just darken that up a little bit. But I do like that highlight. There we go. So what do you guys think? I know it's a little crazy. Everything goes through a crazy stage first. Hey, Hey, Mindy, good to see you. Thank you. Yeah, so like I said, I'm going to, so this way, I'm going to finish at the same section on my page Friday night. So you guys can kind of see, well, not really Friday night. It's more like Friday at 5, but you know, with as early as it gets dark, it seems like midnight. This whole time change thing just always messes me up. And it's been a while, I know, since the time change, but all right, so let's come through here again with some more fluff. And you guys, I'm using a sea sponge here to apply this, so it gets a really nice texture like from all of these little air sponge pockets, whatever they're called. I'm just doing some of this blending together here. So when I kind of give it lots of layers with still only having to do 2 coats. So I think we're gonna come back over here with a little more of the vintage duck egg. Oh, thanks, Kristen, you're so sweet. I just kind of want to keep it in the corners, keep it a little simple. And I'm switching back and forth between my premium chip brushes and my sea sponges. I'm not adding any water. My brushes were dry when I started, so I think we're gonna come in here with a little bit. I'm gonna get in here. I'll probably end up doing a dark wax on this too, I think. So that way, at least if I don't get, oh, I did that in the wrong color. So at least if I don't get into some of the details, I can kind of fix it that way. When I do the other side, I think I'm gonna do all these details out with my French tip brush. Just getting some blending going on in here. Stippling. I want to keep it that same stippling pattern. And you guys, as my sponges are getting, the color is getting mixed up on them, I will start switching these out. So I wouldn't paint an entire piece, even if I wasn't live, I wouldn't paint an entire piece with the same little sponge here. And I am flipping fluff all over the place. I actually just got it all over my pants here. I don't have paint on them yet, so I'm trying to, why I would wear them, I don't know. I always think this is the time that I'm not gonna get paint all over me, but that never really happens. Just wanna lighten that up some. So when I do this wash over here, it's gonna bring a lot of this together. A lot of it together. And I may distress down to this first layer, or I may not. It just depends on kind of how it's going. I think I want to come back in and add just a little more vintage duck egg here and there. Just kind of in random spots. Then we're gonna soften that up a bit. Just get some of that nice texture going on, some of that nice dimension started. Oh, thanks, Kimberly. Hey, Jeannie, good to see you. All right, so let's see here. Can you guys see the top drawer? Yes. So I'm thinking too that I'm gonna do the top in a in the Colonial black, maybe. What do you guys think? Oh, thanks, Jody. You guys, it's so easy. You just, like, this is such an easy paint, a way to paint to really make it look so detailed. But you really don't have to have, you don't have to be able to paint or to practice or anything like that. It just happens. All right, guys, so I am going to do one thing because I do like it in the places more where I have lined out the trim on here that was already on the drawers. So this is watery right here, just so I can get in all these grooves. I got to get in this spot down here. I'm ruining some of my texture, but that's okay. I can always come back to it as that dries up a little bit and go over it. Because I don't even know what time it is. I should probably check. Yeah, we've got plenty of time. Perfect. We should get through at least this middle section, I'm thinking. And I'm thinking I may come in and add some type of molding or something like that over on the sides. Normally I like to add that first, but sometimes as I'm going along, I don't know, I just go back and kind of decide to switch it up a little bit. So I want to kind of keep this part light overall. And I'm going to tell you, I want to come in here and do this wash, but when you do a finish like this, especially using these sea sponges, you can conceivably do one coat and you don't have to do anything else. But I really want that blend kind of over this. Bringing some of this down over here. I'm putting this random everywhere, just wherever. But you don't really have to come in and do another coat. It's just that I want it to look more like a blend, but have this texture, kind of some of this old world underneath peeking through. So that's why I will be doing a second coat on here. So I'm putting this fluff on pretty thick. I really want it to be lighter, so before I contaminate my sponge here, I'm just gonna go through this middle section. And you can see, I'm gonna bring you in so you can see how much texture is on here. There is a lot of texture. And you can make texture elegant. It doesn't have to be aged and everything like that. Just adding a little stippling over here. I think I'm gonna come out with the vintage duck egg in some of those outer areas. All right, so now I wanna get over here and really start bringing some of this together. And I am just dabbing, dabbing, dabbing. Kind of watching what I'm doing. Here and there, I'm coming back in or going over areas that I've already done. Pull some of this paint off of here. I'm gonna bring it down in here because this was really, my little sponge there was really contaminated. Let's see here. So I didn't put any more paint on this brush. I'm just coming in and stippling with my brush that I had the Midnight Sky on. Just to kind of lighten some of that up. Actually gonna come in with another brush and do a little dry brushing. So I put a little paint on my brush and then I kind of wiped it off on the edge of my jar here. And we're just gonna come in. And I mean, I can do lots of different things, but I think I'm just gonna kind of dab around here, kind of bring back some of the highlights. On some of these raised areas, kind of lighten them up a little bit. It's doing a little bit of blending still, but I'm gonna come back. I didn't put any paint on my brush. I don't want it to, if I do, I will darken this up more than I want it at the top here. So all I'm doing is using the brush that was my Midnight Sky brush, and I'm just using what excess paint was on there and kind of bringing that into the fluff a little bit more. Maybe kind of working it up a little bit. All right. And as I see other areas, I think that need to come together a bit. I'm just going through and dabbing it over. I'm gonna use my sponge, I think. I'm not putting excess paint on here. And you guys, I could have taped this top part off. That probably would have been a good idea. But I'll just clean this up a bit before I stain it. And actually, you guys, the No Pain Gel Stain over paint is phenomenal. That actually gives you a really cool look as well. And you know what? Maybe I'll leave that up there. All right, so let me come in over here. And I'm really just pushing this in, my sponge in, to kind of get those highlighted spots. All right, so I like how this is looking so far, how it's coming together. Let me see what time it is. Hey, Tammy, good to see you. Hey, Norma. All right, you guys, I'm sorry. If I'm missing any comments, I will go back as well after the live and take a look at that and answer any questions or anything like that that I missed. Just want to add some more of this vintage duck egg in here and there. I really kind of like that, look. Let's get a little bit more up in here. I will probably, whenever I do this watercolor wash, I'm probably going to lighten all of this up a lot. I'm probably going to bring my darks more in here and even keep this. Actually, let me go ahead and do it now. I like when I paint this first section to really be able to identify how I want my color to run. And you're probably thinking, what are you doing? These dressers curve out. This is the lowest points are over here. So I actually think I want to lighten up this entire, I am splattering paint everywhere. I want to lighten up this entire center area. I'm still going to have the dimension, but I think I want to keep that lighter. Same thing down here. Oh, you guys, I'm going to have so much to clean up. I've actually splattered paint all over my phone over here, so you guys know this is messy. Anytime you paint with these sponges, it is messy, but I'm telling you, when it dries and it all comes together, this is one of the prettiest, to me, this is one of the prettiest techniques. And easiest, that's really what I should say. When I've done a class with this technique, I mean, everybody's project looks amazing. All right, so I think actually I'm gonna like this. Just wanna go. So I'll still have the dimension. That way this center section, I think I'm gonna like that much better. Lighten it up, going down here a little bit too. This out some. And I think I want to add just a little bit of vintage duck egg up here. Then I'll bring you in for a close-up. And you know what else I see though? I feel like there might be a little too much vintage duck egg over here. And you guys, I know that looks terrible what I just did, but it'll be fine. I'll lighten this up as well here in just a minute. This part though, I do want a little bit darker. So let's come in. I don't want it too light, so I didn't put any extra paint on here. I'm just I want kind of a gray undertone in here. All right, perfect. I think that's good, yeah. When I see it on camera, it's different than whenever I'm looking straight in. I know I love Vintage Decade too. It is definitely, I feel like, one of the classic favorites. All right, so you guys, I think I like this. I'm gonna bring you in so you can get a close-up of it, and then we're just gonna move over and work on this middle section here. Thanks, Tammy. All right. We got stuff everywhere. All right, so here we go. Don't pay attention to my mess behind it. So you guys can get an idea. Do you see all of that gorgeous texture going on? It's gonna be awesome when we do the watercolor wash over it because it's gonna catch. All right, I'm gonna pull you back now. But it's gonna catch on all those little, all that texture we created, all those high points, low points, all that good stuff. Denise, so this, I swear, this technique is so easy. It's like, you cannot mess it up. The second, oh, thanks, Mindy. You can't mess this up. I'm telling you, I've done classes and I will never forget, one person, of course, I always encourage people to pick their own colors. Oh, thanks, Tammy. Yeah, you guys, please sprinkle this around, share it. Please. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Penny. I want to say, I think she did. So she picked, I forgot which green it was, but it's one of the brighter greens. I think it was, I forgot which one. Don't make me lie. And then she picked, I remember, it was Lucky Lavender, Kudzu, and then she did, I think, like Fluff or something, but it was a neutral. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, you know, but I never want to discourage people because you want to create. You wanted to see what it comes up with. I'm going to tell you what, when she got done, it was the most, it was just beautiful. It was a jewelry box for that class. And it was gorgeous. I couldn't believe how those colors came together. Like I never would have thought that would have happened. But anyway, it was gorgeous. The moral of the story. All right, so actually down here, let's work on this part first. I've got to come back in with my water here because I do definitely want to line out these, don't want to make it too dark, but I just want this to be dark. I find it is easiest to create dimension to start off creating it with paint. I feel like some of the reason, so I get questions about, you know, how do you make the wax like really accent it and stick in the crevices? I feel like it makes a huge difference when you start off with your paint. So we're just going back to the first step here with the French tip brush. And this is not the paint that I thickened up. This is just the regular consistency. Just making it nice and wet so it just automatically runs down into all those grooves. So this paint is going a long way. I'm not re-adding. All I'm doing is wetting my brush down. I'm using what's already on there right now. Okay, but now once I come up to here, I do want it to really run into the grooves. So we're gonna load up a little more paint. Oh, well, thanks, Marianne, for popping in. I'm glad to see you. All right, here we go. So we're just getting down in here. And I don't think we're going to have time to do this top drawer, so I'll get to that later. Let's see. Yep, I just want to make sure you can see that bottom middle here. So let's go ahead. So we want the bottom darker. So down here, I'm pretty much not using a lot of the fluff, but I think I am on this applique. We want to highlight that. And I am kind of dabbing this into some of the grooves on this particular applique here. You don't want it to look perfectly nice and smooth while the rest is textured. So just a little bit. Then let's come in here with some of our textured vintage duck egg. Definitely want to hit the highlights. And this is a dry brush. I'm not dabbing it into all the details. I am a little bit here and there, but for the most part, you want those details to remain really dark and just kind of dry brush over that a little bit. All right. So now I'm going to actually kind of blend this a little bit. Didn't add any extra paint. I am just going through. I'm not scrubbing into the details. I just want to kind of hit those lower points and kind of blend that vintage duck egg in a little bit. And now we're going to take this and start our first little layer, our first little light dry brush layer on here. All I'm doing is very light hitting the high points. I don't care if it gets somewhere else, but this is just adding that initial layer of depth here. And dab a little bit, do a little stippling, keep kind of in the move, or in the same pattern. So kind of see how that's looking, where you can really start seeing some of that dimension. Yes, it does. It does definitely look like a patina. Hey, Donna, good to see you. All right, so let's go ahead and get this drawer here. Whoops, wrong paint. So we're keeping it a little bit dark, a little bit more. We're using our textured Midnight Sky now. Also, I will have to go in and pull out these drawers because these drawers sit inside. So I'll go in and I'll use an art brush and I will just line out with, you know, the matching colors in that particular area at the time. All right, so we're going back to our sponge here. And we're gonna kind of keep it, oh my gosh, look at me. I'm flipping paint everywhere with this sponge. So I guess I have more paint clothes because that's definitely what I needed. You guys, my granddaughter had a recital on Sunday at church, Sunday night. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to wear? I don't even have those kind of clothes anymore. It was not like the regular church. It wasn't like a casual thing, you know? All right, so now we're gonna come in here, just kind of make that middle kind of match up with where we're going. We're gonna bring some vintage duck egg in. Keeping this bottom section a little bit darker. Let's run some of that vintage duck egg over. But you guys, you really, like I said, you can't mess this up. It's just dabbing. It is probably one of the easiest paint styles ever. So easy. Oh, and I'm loving all this texture. You could scrape this back when you do the watercolor finish. You could do so much with this. Just adding a little more fluff. I think I'm gonna add it with my sponge here. And I'm being more deliberate and slower right now because I want this fluff to stay on top more and blend less. So when you go really fast, you're really blending more. But if I stay really deliberate and just let this paint rest on here, I'm not blending as much. And this is how I'm lightening it up. I am moving some of this vintage duck egg though up here a little bit. I kind of like it really on these on this trim, this detailed trim. We're still kind of keeping it darker. All right. So I think I kind of like that. Maybe a little lighter right in here. But I don't want to move that around too much. All right, you guys, so it is 6:45. I knew it was getting close. Let me just roll through the comments really quick. And then, oh my gosh, yes, I have paint all over me. Let me raise you guys up a little bit so you can see that whole section. It's dried up a little bit more. So the look kind of changes as it dries. To me, I think it always starts looking better. But that is our first coat. And like I said, on this same section, I will do the watercolor wash Friday night on my page at 5. And in the description, by the way, I do have the link as well. And if you watch this on replay, guys, hashtag replay. Thought I lost my comments though. I'm going to run through really quick. Oh my gosh, Nikki, it was so nice to catch you live too. Let's see here. Oh, thanks, Donna. This is Vintage Duck Egg, Fluff, and Midnight Sky. Mostly Fluff. Let's see here. Okay, you guys, so actually I can't scroll. Look how it is a messy paint job, though. I mean, you can wear latex gloves if you wanted to, but my hands are always caked in paint whenever I finish this. I know I've missed you too. It's been a while, but I hope you're feeling better. You've been on my mind. Thanks, Donna. So you guys, I don't know what's going on, but I can't seem to scroll up and down on my comments here. And I guess on my phone, it doesn't, this phone up here, it really doesn't matter because my granddaughter, oh, thanks, Patty. My granddaughter was using it today, and there's little, I don't know, sticky stuff all over it. She's 20 months now. So, all right, guys. So I don't see any questions that I missed unless they're towards the beginning, but I will definitely go back and get them. Thank you guys again so much for watching. You're welcome to message me with any questions that you have, and everything's soap and water cleanup too. So, all right, take care. Have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you. Oh, now I've got water on my hands, so